that we adopt the consent agenda.
Been moved and seconded that we adopt tonight's agenda. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. No guest presentation and no public comment. So we'll go right into the action item, which is to approve the consent agenda, which is the minutes of the July 2024 meeting, payment of the bills, hiring a sixth grade teacher and a couple of resignations. So I'll let you guys look at the bills for a little bit.
That was the second payment. The first payment was about $56,000 that we used the rest of the ESSER money for, and then that was the second. It came out of plant facility bill.
agenda. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Let's go right into the informational reports, the financial report.
Okay, so on the financial report, really hoping this is the last month we'll have Wells Fargo on there. We wanted to wait till we knew my school ups payments were no longer coming in. Denise did cut a check to ICCU for her bulk of her balance. And once that clears, we'll be able to close hers, and then just Ginny making sure hers is all clear, and then we'll be done with Wells Fargo. Our ICCU balances, LGIP balances. I'd done this report last Thursday, and Monday today we received our August 15th payment of $1.497 million. So our 1134 general LGIP is actually $3.43 million right now is the balance. There's our other two balances. Budget update. We're in the new fiscal year, so there's a new spreadsheet attached. I tweaked it just a little bit. I don't know if I'm giving you too much information or not enough information. It's hard to read or easy to read, but I just thought I'd add another column. So I did a total revenue column so you could see what we're expected for each fund as a total revenue with the carryover. And then that's a little more accurate representation of the percent remaining there in the far column. And then just an audit update. The bulk of the audit took place the week of July 22nd. I've been back and forth in email with Tim Hoyt, just answering a couple questions. It's pretty much wrapped up at this point. We just had a couple payroll questions that we're just waiting on some answers from the kind of tax people on. Once we have those, he should be ready to do our report, and it's still on track to present at the September 4th meeting.
So, before we got our check, you said you got it, what, today or last week?
The August 15th payment.
The August payment.
Yeah, it's called.
Is our balances, are they the lowest before that? Is that kind of the lowest time of the year?
No, because we get 4 payments throughout the year. So we get a big one in July to carry out last fiscal year. So this is our first, August 15th is our biggest payment that we get.
Right, and so our bank account's a lot higher. So what time of the year is our bank account the lowest?
The lowest, I would say, in June, right before we get that July 15th payment.
Oh, so there's a payment in July.
There's a payment in July to wrap up that fiscal year's funding.
And how much is that compared to?
I want to say we received right at 600-ish thousand July 15th, but I can let you know for sure. It's percentage.
It's about a third of what you get.
No, because it's broken down in certain percentages of what your funding is, and that July 15th is projected to be, I believe, about 25%, but it's just to wrap up whatever, after all your attendance and after all of your staffing and all the IC reporting is done, that July 15th payment wraps up the remainder of what the state owes you.
Okay.
So.
Is there any other questions for Kendall? All right, thank you, Kendall. Technology director.
Okay, it's that time of year again. You should have seen an email in your inboxes telling you that there's training, or yearly security training. That is a legit one. It's not a phishing. So it is good to go. You have 2 weeks to get that one done. CompuNet, let's see, fiber is installed in the ag shop, so it's going. And I am after kind of getting things on the ground here. I am going to get a quote on 2 more doors, cafeterias. We're finding out that is actually a pretty heavily used entrance, so we're going to want to get those ones done, especially the elementary, because we have before school program stuff. We'd like to be able to have that door on a schedule, and then that way, because usually in the morning the kitchen staff's in there working and they forget to pull the rock out of the door, and so it's 8:30 and it's still wide open. So it's better if we had it on a schedule than anything else. Let's see here, E-rate, I've received the FCDL and it's for the wrong amount, so I started the process with feds, and we're going to try and get that one cleared up, hopefully within the next month. Our Power School stuff, the cafe end user training, we got that completed, online registration is going, and eFunds is up and running. ClassLink, our conversion for that, we have basically, I think, 2 apps ready to go, but the critical ones for students we have ready to go for school. So our testing will be, our IRI testing should be on schedule to get stuff done. Let's see here, what else we got? Ag Shop, the desks, computers are both installed, so they're ready to go. And then we have a replacement for our K-12 alerts, and I've been working with them since the 8th of July, and they're on the new model of we only respond to emails, where something that could take like 2 minutes on a Zoom call takes, I mean, literally days to get a response back. So I'm hoping to have that one actually pushed out and ready to go sometime probably after the fair, depending on they were supposed to have the final push for data in today, and they didn't. So we're gonna hold off a little bit, do some testing, and then we'll get that deployed out probably mid-September, if not late September. We'll have that done. So, any questions?
Any questions for Dan?
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Dan. Principal's report.
We received the Nest First grant for $10,000. Our artist Diane Giroux was going to come. I wrote it for her to come and do some song and dance with the students, and then do some art from an art, signifying the leader in me. Also, we have right now our enrollment. Kindergarten, we're looking at 12 students. First grade 16, second grade 25, third grade 19, fourth grade 22, fifth grade 20, sixth grade 21, 135 for the enrollment right now. That's it. That's a little lower than last year. Our we were just 12, so we left 23 and 20 just 12. Actually, we're only down 6.
Some of that's okay at all. I mean, people still.
Yeah, we've had new students registered, some left, some are meeting, so yeah. We're anticipating some.
How was the, did they challenge people? They came down?
Yeah. We had 11 girls come on Saturday and just helped do a few tasks, so that was really nice to have the extra help. I know that Justin's been really busy and the other custodians fighting fire, so just had a few things. But they worked hard, and they were there from 9 to 2:30. So we did a little outside and a little inside. It's appreciated.
Any other questions for Lori? All right, Superintendent's report.
Okay, for the high school, I put an anticipated enrollment there. We've had a couple kids come and go, though. That's pretty close. So we're at about 143 to start this fall, and we last fall we were at 147. So we're a few less than what we started at last year. Athletics has started, so we've got some participation numbers there. We're looking at roughly 25 for football, volleyball, right around 20, 21 or so. So those things are still working themselves out. For the district, we were notified recently that St. Joe's isn't going to be able to provide occupational therapy anymore. So a couple years ago, they discontinued speech therapy just because they couldn't staff it. And so that's when we went to Eluma. So they notified us that OT, they can't staff that anymore either, so we're looking for a provider for that. But they're still providing physical therapy. So we're working on that. Just a note on open enrollment, because we've received quite a few open enrollment applications recently. That process follows 310P. And so if a family open enrolls a student, they live outside of our district, generally kids are accepted if we have room for them, and they don't have a history of attendance problems or a history of discipline problems, or they've been expelled. So if a kid is denied, or kids are denied, it's generally because of one of those things. So we've had a couple denied in the last week and a half, and we've had a couple accepted. But when a family gets denied, they do have an appeal process, so they can appeal it to the board. So just so you know, I mean, at some point that'll happen probably. But that's the process. It follows that policy. Facilities, Justin and I have been working to get our 10-year plan done. Justin did the facilities condition assessment. So, you know, with that facilities bill, the state put out a rubric for us to evaluate the buildings. And so Justin went through, did that. We enter that information into their software system, and then basically what that does is it puts together dollar figures for each building over the course of 10 years. Actually, it's more than that, it's like 20 years, 20 plus years, I think. Those dollar amounts that it puts in there or creates don't necessarily align with the actual dollar amount we're going to get. In fact, it's not even close. If you look at what it says we're going to have to spend over the next 20-some years or whatever it is, it's just millions and millions. But we're really only getting a little over $1 million over the, with that facilities bill. So the 10-year plan that we're going to put together will use that information, but it'll only use dollar amounts that we're actually going to get. And so it's still helpful because it tells us kind of where we need to target. But even with that, it's a working document, so it'll change year to year. But so next month we'll have that 10-year plan and where that money will be targeted across the district for you guys to review. So, anything else with that? Yeah, that's about it. Yep. And with that, I will introduce our clerk, Amy Cookman, and talk about the ISBA committee.
Okay, so we have an annual ISBA convention. It's attended by all trustees that can make it. It's going to be in Boise in November 6th through the 8th. So I don't know if you've been notified or not, but I registered you all just to put you in there and have the rooms and secure a spot. If you cannot attend, please let me know as of October 1st. We can cancel registration, we can cancel the hotel, all that. If not, then unfortunately you go. So we have the convention, like I said, November 6th through the 8th, which is a Wednesday through, of course, Friday. They conduct business meeting down there on the Friday. They have a clerk's meeting on Friday. Lots of written seminars. So if you're interested, please let me know a yes. If you want to take a spouse, let me know as well. That's all I have. Any questions?
October 1.
By October 1, please. And I will put a reminder on your calendar as well. But it's good. We weren't able to attend last year because we had state football priorities and other things going on. But, so, thank you.
Any questions about any of those things? I had staff return today. So Dawn made it this morning. We had breakfast and introduced new staff, and then broke off into building meetings, and then second half of the day, teachers started getting ready for kids.
Anything else for Steve?
Okay, thanks.
Let's see, trustee reports. Trustee reports.
I've got a report. I've had a few people, basically farmers, asked that maybe we push school back a week before we start, to like 28th or something. There's, so I think kids will work for farmers, artists. And this is like starting.
Let's do this year.
So I thought pass it on, and maybe pass it on to the district leadership team, if they'd love to bump it back a week. We could look at it.
So I really wouldn't hurt anything, just like, and just go like a week later in summer. So basically just.
Yeah. You go a little bit more in June.
Moscow, that's kind of Moscow. Other trustee reports. I had a board chair Zoom meeting, and we were talking about the ISBA resolutions. There's one resolution that talks about preschool and trying to involve the governor and everybody in working together to develop something for preschool. And that's going to be sponsored by Caldwell, and it was kind of suggested, that we get co-sponsors, and that Kendrick would be a good, since, that's kind of what we're doing with the early learning club. So maybe we should be a co-sponsor. So that's something to look at when the resolutions come out. The board hadn't had a chance to even look at it. Are there any other reports? Okay, let's go into the action items. First action item is bus routes. So Justin's going to inform us about the bus routes.
Well, the bus routes should not change. There might be a few kids, the routes can stay the same. There's some that start driving, some new ones will have to pick up, but it should be the same timing, and be the same routes.
Good enough.
Because they've been the same for quite a few years. Not many people have moved in, many people have moved out. Just kids start driving.
I'm guessing Drew didn't move then.
Not that I know of. I haven't heard yet.
Yeah, that's good.
I have a question about the buses. So do we have problems on our routes that people go around the buses when we're supposed to stop? Did we get any complaints on that?
So in my time, I had one complaint about a jet fuel truck that went around one of our buses. And I know Jack Poole, I called him and he took care of it right away. And because the driver of the bus did not get he got the truck number, but he didn't get the license plate.
Oh, yeah.
So we got the truck number and we called Jack, and he was taking care of immediately.
Oh, yeah.
And I've been working with trying to get the state to put up some more signage, but they are a lot more lenient on signage than like the counties. The counties, if I tell them they want to sign here, they will look at it. The state, not so much. If there's 100 feet of visibility, they are like, that's plenty, and we talk. So that's a work in progress. I call them probably once a month and try to get them to put a sign up, or just open a sign up to say where the bus stop is at.
So are they ever going to do anything with the crosswalk out here?
From what I've heard is they have the funding, they've purchased the equipment, and they're just waiting for that to come in to get it set up. And all that will be is a blinking light that people hit and just say, somebody's coming across the highway. Which is very helpful because a lot of the kids that cross right there do not pay a lick of attention to anything. So.
about the new bus? Did we get it?
We have the new bus, licensed, insured, registered, the whole thing.
There you go.
All 53 seat belts are accounted for on the school bus. Yeah, it's a beautiful machine.
All right, thank you, Justin. How do we make a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the 24-25 bus route.
Been moved and seconded, we approve the 24-25 bus route, same as last year. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Consider approving the continuous improvement plan performance targets. Steve, you want to talk a little bit about that?
Sure. This continuous improvement plan is a required document that gets submitted to the State Department, or not the State Department, the State Board of Ed. It came into effect maybe 7-8 years ago, and it's targets for ISATs, IRI, and college and career readiness. And so what Dory and I do is we look at each class, how they performed. So like, for example, if we were looking at our 8th graders this year, I'd look at their 7th grade ISAT scores this previous year and set our targets there. And the targets are supposed to be, based on that, what's realistic, but what's attainable. So sometimes those numbers can be hard with small classes because percentages can change pretty drastic, but we do our best to try to get them to be realistic. And so that's what these numbers are. And so when you see those numbers, it's based on that particular class's last year.
Any other questions? I'll second it. We moved and seconded to approve the continuous improvement plan for 24-25. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. So we're down to this district staff handbook. Do you want to talk about that a little bit, Steve?
Sure. The staff handbook is it's largely unchanged from previous years. It has a lot of items that are from also policy. So there's some crossover between policy and the handbook, and also the negotiated agreement as well. And so it's fairly straightforward, but it provides guidance for staff members in different scenarios that we think would be helpful. It's meant to be helpful for people when it comes to a few student things here and there, like videos in the classroom or supervision, or just the work day, or if you're taking leave, how does that work? So that's something that got handed out today to staff members. Some of it is just also required policies that are supposed to be distributed every year.
Make a motion to approve the 24-25 voting handbook.
Moved and seconded to approve 24-25 handbook. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Okay, the next item is consider the supplemental levy resolution. Two options there. One would be a 2-year levy, one would be a 2-year.
thinking the 2 years better.
What?
Were we thinking the 2 years better?
Yeah, the only reason he put the 1 year on there, you get off the presidential election year as well as midterm election.
And we probably have enough carryover that we wouldn't be hurting after 1 year, 2 years. But sometimes that's a reason, you know, like, yeah, we could go 1 year at that rate, but we can't go 2 years.
So we put in, just based on the discussions over the last few months, we put the 750 number in there, but that's something for you guys to set. And then an option or 1 or 2 year to stay on the current cycle or change it up.
And we were fine with that under. Last time we discussed it, we were okay at
Seemed like
750.
I felt like you.
And we were covered.
So when we were building, you know, we usually don't have to raise the levy, but if we're declining enrollment, which is what we're starting to do, right? And then the state gets stingy, then we're gonna have to start raising the levy. And the rule of thumb used to be like, you know, if the state gave us a 3% increase, you'd have to increase the levy 3% to meet our goals. It's been a little, because we've had more kids the last few years, really helped, you know, having to increase our levy. But the costs have gone up. So the next time we do the levy, if it's 2 years from now, we'll have to.
So how many students down before we were like really concerned? I mean, right now we're kind of the same neighborhood, right? I mean,
It's decreasing though.
then,
Yeah.
and is that something we can see? I mean, how do we predict like for next year since it's a gamble?
Well, I'll tell you, we only have 11 preschoolers enrolled for this school year. 12 kindergartners, 11 preschoolers, so that kind of tells you where that, I mean, not everyone goes to preschool, but
Really?
That's lower than what we've had.
it is normally we're in the 14, 15 range for preschool.
Yeah.
And as these classes come into the high school, when they're a little bit smaller than the ones leaving, because probably you bring in a little bit more funding for the secondary kids, and so when there's less secondary kids, that hurts a little bit more than less elementary kids. With this one being on a presidential election, though, we've only run it on a presidential election once or twice since I've been here, so about 14 years that I can remember, and those have been the lowest pass rates that we've had. And so, I think the message I got from when you guys were talking about it the last couple times was that with it being a presidential election, it might be better to keep it the same number and not increase it.
Right.
Just go 1 year.
That'll give you a better idea to.
Yeah.
So we could do the 1 year and then next year we could the.
When you get off the cycle,
Then we could.
give it a
Oh yeah, let's go back to another 2 years.
That makes sense. Do it 1 year. Especially if we're worried about declining enrollment, because if
Right.
the last thing I want is for us not to have enough money 2 years from today, because we ran
So
to,
that gives us
Yeah.
our idea for year.
so I'd be okay with one.
Go back to this year.
Yeah.
Get off cycle.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of times we just did it a yearly, just so nice, you don't have to do it every year.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really nice.
So is this the amount due or just the year?
Well, if you keep it Yeah, I mean, I guess what we would look for is approving a 1-year supplemental levy at $750,000. So it's the first one there. It's the first resolution that we.
I'll make a motion to approve the 1-year supplemental levy at $750,000.
Moved and seconded to approve the resolution setting the amount at $750,000 and term 1 year. So this is a resolution, so it requires a roll call for Amy. Would you call the roll?
Take roll call on the resolution. Mr. Ireland? Yea or nay?
Yea.
Yea. Ms. Parker? Yea. Mr. Hendricks?
Yea.
Mr. Parks?
Aye.
And Mr.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. It's passed, and I will send this off tonight to the county officials because they'll start printing ballots right away for military. So, thank you.
Okay. The next action items are policies, and they're all listed there. We went through them last time, and so if there's anybody wants to continue talking about it. There isn't, maybe we could wrap it all up at once.
So if you want on this, I can take like a first and a second on each individual one, or we can read them all the way through and someone can do a first and second for all of them.
I would,
You want to do them individually?
no, I want to do it.
So we'll read them all, and whoever says yes or no at the end. Okay, okay. Oh, okay, perfect. That sounds good. That saves my.
Go ahead.
I was gonna make a motion. So I'll make a motion to approve all policies, updates A through W.
I'll second it.
Okay, so it's been moved and seconded that we approve all policies from A, which is vacancies, to 748, W. Moved and seconded, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. The next item is an executive session. We need a motion to go into executive session.
I move that we go into executive session at this time.
Moving and seconded to go into executive session. This has to be a roll call vote. You need to call the roll.
Mr. Iron?
Aye.
Ms. Parker?
Aye.
Mr. McGarrett?
Aye.
Mr. Parker?
Aye.
Mr. Lawrence? Okay, we are now in